The Last Jedi, not today, but yesterday, The Last Jedi officially turned 7 years old. And so there's a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people tweeting about it, a lot of people that said so many people didn't understand this at the time, but it's the best Star Wars movie that's ever made. Eventually people will understand that. But yes, it was 7 years ago today that The Last Jedi released, and it truly was a turning point in Star Wars fandom, and I think in the entertainment industry as a whole. And it was certainly a turning point in your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for The Last Jedi. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, fuck this movie." I'm like, thank you, Rian Johnson. Thank you, Disney. Thank you for this movie. Thank you for allowing me to take full advantage of your complete and total shit show. But here's the true thing that we've learned from The Last Jedi is that Disney has not learned from The Last Jedi. Now, if you go back to when I first started criticizing this movie, I said consistently, I can deal with the bad movie. This happens all the time. Bad movies happen all the time. It is what it is. It happens. What I can't deal with is a bad movie and then the studio and the creative people behind it decide to blame the audience for the bad movie. That's where the breaking point for me was with The Last Jedi, was the fact that they decided it was all the toxic fans' fault. And that's where they've never recovered from that. They've never been able to stop blaming the fans for their failures. That's the true element that took this film to the next level. And it really did define the last 7 years for Disney and Lucasfilm. Disney and Lucasfilm decided the fans were the enemies, the fans were evil, the fans were toxic, they hated women, they hated minorities, and they've never really moved away from that mindset in the last 7 years. And that's what I'm thankful for, is for Disney being retarded. So I have seen a lot of reaction to it, and yeah, I'm very thankful for the movie. I appreciate them making this movie.
I mean, I'm thankful for it too. I had tweeted about that today. I'm thankful for the movie because it was so bad that it woke general audiences up to how much Disney Star Wars fucking sucked and what the people in charge there truly felt and what they were doing with this franchise. And because I'm someone that walked out of Force Awakens kind of disgusted and realizing that Disney Star Wars is not for me and that this is no longer Star Wars that I love. But a lot of people were fucking hyped about it. And so I just felt, well, that's just the way it's going to be then, I suppose. And then 2 years later, I started seeing all these different people talking, channels that were speaking out about The Last Jedi. I was like, holy shit, a lot of this stuff is the same thing I felt about Force Awakens, but it was Last Jedi that kicked off so much of that to the general audience out there, people that are just big Star Wars fans. And so I'm thankful for that. And now here we are 7 years later, and Disney Star Wars is probably in worse shape than it's ever been.
Yeah, and then of course the next phase, the next chapter to this was Rise of Skywalker, which in my opinion is a far worse movie than The Last Jedi. Even I think The Rise of Skywalker is just awful. I think it's awful. And I don't think, like, this one, there's nobody that actually likes the fucking movie. You don't even have the Raylo fucking crowd that likes that movie. Nobody likes that movie.
As like a movie, if you were to remove Star Wars from everything, right, and you just drop these two movies in front of people, in front of like aliens who had never like experienced this shit before, they would probably say Last Jedi is a much better movie or a better film, right, than Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. But you have to take everything. You have to realize that The Last Jedi was not only a follow-up to Episode 7, but it's also the 8th part and supposedly a 9-part series. And it does so much destruction to everything. Not just what was set up in the first movie or set up in the first movie without any actual fucking plan, just fucking mystery box bullshit from J.J. Abrams, but also what it does to these legacy characters.
Absolutely.
That's why it did the damage it did.
Yeah. And, you know, the true legacy of the movie is what I'll say, though, going back to it, is that they've just never learned from it. And they're still making those same mistakes to this day, right now. And that shows you that it's never going to get better at Lucasfilm. I don't think. I still don't see any signs. 7 years later, after The Last Jedi, I still see no signs whatsoever of this company moving forward or getting better or improving. So that's why they can all go fuck off and go to hell for all I care, because Lucasfilm is a piece of shit company ran by piece of shit people. And 7 years later, we're still talking about the same damn things that we talked about then. I can't believe we're still here doing this, dude. I can't believe it. But I'm very thankful for it, Disney. I really do. I appreciate you. I remember people going back and going, like, this was after episode 8 and this before episode 9. And like, Jeremy, if you could just have it to do all over again, would you give up all of your YouTube channel success if you could just have a good episode 8? Fuck no. You kidding me? No. Don't give Disney anything. It's not my fault that they screwed it up. So no, I'm not going to give up any successes I've had for them to do the right thing. They could have done the right thing the whole time. They decided to throw George Lucas's sequel trilogy out the window. They decided to not have a plan. They decided to put Luke Skywalker at the backdrop of the movie instead of the forefront of the movie in episode 7. They made all of these decisions, and then they blamed the fans for it. So no sympathy whatsoever. And no, I would not give up anything for Disney. Fuck Disney. That's how I feel.
One of my favorite parts about it is so many of the hardcore Disney Star Wars shills and supporters that are out there who were like, it's going to be just like the prequels. People look back and appreciate them more. Well, here we are fucking 7 years later. And it's not the case. I don't know when that's going to happen. Is that going to be at the 8-year mark? Is it going to be at the 10-year mark? When's that going to happen? Because right now it's looked back on as an embarrassment, as a piece of shit, as something that was incredibly divisive. And that hasn't changed, regardless of how much they tweet about it or talk about it. That has not changed. People don't look favorably upon that movie.
No, and they're not going to. They're only going to continue to have more negative feelings as time goes on. And
then the idea that they decided to use or brand their whole theme park and put the timeline in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, like the two movies that people don't want anything to do with, this period of time that nobody fucking cares about at all. And that's what you built like your multi-billion-dollar fucking projects all about. How ridiculous.
They learned absolutely nothing from it. So so I'm happy. Next year we'll be talking about the same thing, and then with the 10-year anniversary, we'll be talking about how horrible. The only thing that might change is the direction of what Lucasfilm is doing at that point in time. Although in 3 years, for the 10-year anniversary, what are we going to be talking about? We're probably going to be talking about
Mandalorian and Grogu came out.
The Rey movie
season 2 will come out, and the Rey movie, or maybe not necessarily the Rey movie, but this fucking trilogy or whatever will probably finally have some details and maybe even like a teaser trailer for that. That's what will be happening 3 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're talking about the return of Rey Skywalker.